The Air Force gave me the discipline I needed. I didn't have a whole lot of discipline before that, and I went to school for 2 years, and I can tell you I did not have a whole lot of discipline before that. And I finished up school after the Air Force, and ended up going to first Lockheed. I worked for Lockheed and Boeing, and 15 years each company. And Lockheed used to have a work day where they would basically ask people to go out and do certain jobs. And that's kind of where I really started getting involved in that. In the Air Force, you're doing service all the time. It's just for the military though. But now I get to do it for people that I really care about. So what inspired me to help with food insecurity was the fact that I was first working with homelessness. And a good friend of mine was doing quite a good job at that. And I began to see that the thing that was missing was the food insecurity. So I switched over to that, and we sometimes work together, both housing people and feeding them. But I found that the soup kitchen work that I've done has been so good for me in my heart. It's just something that rings in my heart. So that's why I do that. The experience at St. Andrews has been marvelous. I learned there how to actually be a cook for a soup kitchen. I cook, but I like to cook for 4 people. Cooking for 6 to 8 people was something I barely could do before, but I learned at St. Andrews to cook for 70, 80 people. And Sam Wiley, who leads that ministry there for St. Andrews, has been so patient in teaching me. I showed some aptitude for it, I guess, but I also show a willingness to do it. She's been teaching me for years. I felt confident that I could do it. And I approached First Christian with the idea that I wanted to restart the hot meals program that they had here before the pandemic started. The other thing that I do at St. Andrews is I actually take over for Sam Wiley. Being asked to do that, it's a big responsibility, and the fact that they asked me to do that was something I was very proud of. I mean, it just really hurt. It really affected my feelings towards the whole work. The small difference between which side of the table you're on, whether you're serving people or whether you're eating there. A friend of mine, his wife got sick. She was in the hospital for a long time. They had hundreds of $1,000s in medical bills, and eventually she passed away, and he was left with something like, many $1,000s worth of medical bills that he had to pay. Something like that, something like a medical illness, can change you from before, when they owned their own house, they traveled, they went on vacation. Then just in a few months, basically, she got ill and passed away. It can happen to any of us. And I know I was hungry for a while when I first left school. It was hard times back then in '75. Unemployment rate was very high. And I basically went without food for days at a time. A friend of mine, his mom kind of noticed that and brought me into the house and fed me and gave me a place to stay. So I was always grateful for her kindness. And I think that's something that since then I've always wanted to do, return that. Something I've actually have been encouraging our volunteers to do is to actually sit down and talk to our guests. They do begin to open up, and they're humans. They have dignity. I want them to see that. They have stories to tell. I want to hear them. And our guests, my volunteers that I have, they're wonderful. I've had them come up to me and cry because they talked to somebody that they realized what I was just talking about here, about how easy it is to be, which side of the serving table you're on is kind of an important part. Kindness means recognizing people, seeing them. I think seeing people is maybe the first thing you could do for kindness, but also relating to them, getting to know them, and then opening your heart. But kindness it's easy. It's easy, but not enough of us do it. I just believe that it's something that makes the world a lot better place to live when we're all kind.